Hello everyone. So I have a few interesting products for you in my 1 hour prepared, and they are basically all new products that we launched in the last quarter, you can say, or they are still in the process to be launched. So really high level. In 1 hour, give you for a few products some ideas, and this session is interesting for you when you have questions like how can you target users who visited your website but didn't make any transaction, never filled out a form. How can you retarget them? So we have a product for that called remarketing. If you are confused with the AdWords Report Center, it has too much functionalities, what you can do with AdWords right now if you want to use Twitter together with Google. We have a few ideas on our site included, and also a few other products. So let me first start with this. So I'm a big fan of Facebook, I have to say. And I post regularly things on Facebook, and remarketing was this year one of our most successful launch. And some of my friends commented that. So they said it is really impressive. Our CEO, Eric Schmidt, think it has huge potential. And our Google sales vice president also said, wow, that's cool. The product roadmap is fantastic. So we do a lot in our product world to be a leader in the industry that even my other friends think that that's really cool. And I would like to highlight just a few tools. That's not the big detailed picture of what we offer. This is my agenda for today. So being a bit more back to serious, I'm German, so serious boring. So I'll talk today about 6 different topics, and I will start with some search products. So the AdWords Report Center integration that we are currently in the process to launch to all our clients, and search funnel report, which is also really interesting to see what users do before they make a transaction. What you can do with mobile and Google. And then I'll switch over to the Google Content Network, our partner network with websites, what is possible there, like remarketing I just mentioned, or above the fold targeting and Twitter ads. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, if you don't understand me, English is not my native language, so just interrupt me. Okay, what I want to highlight here, all the products are available for the Belgian market. So it's not that these products are available only for UK, France, or Germany. All the products I tell you or introduce today are relevant for the Belgian market as well. So let's start with the AdWords Report Center integration. So right now, first of all, how many here have an AdWords account? Oh, cool, nearly everyone. That's fantastic. Some people told us, not some, actually a lot. So you have on one side the campaign management overview, and on the other hand the report center. Why do you actually have 2 different overviews? And sometimes we had the problem that the data is a bit different just because of server delays in report center versus a campaign management overview. And we're trying to address this and said, okay, why not make it even more intuitive and just show the reports directly in the campaign management overview. So if you're on campaign level in an AdWords account, why not just give you directly the campaign report there? So you don't need to go first of all to the report center and set up a report again and set up. So we try to integrate it as much as possible to make it even more intuitive to, for all of our advertisers to run reports. So you basically, first of all, have to select the segments. So in this example, you are on campaign level. You can decide if you want to run a report only for the Google search performance, content performance, or search partner performance. And then you just need to select the different metrics, what you want to see, like CPC, CTR, impression, and so on. And if you're on the AdWords account, it looks like this way. So you just have on the different level here in campaign level, the segmentation selection. You can decide the time frame if you want to see it for last month, quarter, day of the week. And then you just select the columns. So if you want to see clicks, impressions, conversions, if you use Google conversion tracking, competitive metrics like impression share, and then you just check the one that are relevant for you and run the report. All the reports are available in this new integrated section also as a downloadable version, so as CSV, XML, or as a PDF. So nothing has changed here. So you can also change the different segments and the way you want to see them, and also schedule reports. Like in the original report center, so this is not changing. You can sketch a report and say, I want to receive it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, into my inbox, or send it to other people who have access to the AdWords account, that they regularly see what's going on with my AdWords campaign. What does it mean in the AdWords interface? You now have on the left-hand side in the tree view, in the navigation, a new tab called Control Panel and Library in an AdWords account, where you can see all your scheduled reports, because you can, of course, save them and rerun them at a later stage, where also the customized alerts set up, because you can also set up alerts in AdWords accounts to see when there are dramatic changes in your campaign, that you are directly informed via email, via SMS. So let's say you have a huge drop in conversion, you can get notification from Google without logging into the AdWords account in the preferred way. Okay, so basically, if you see here the original report center, each metric is now integrated in a different subsection in the campaign management view. So you have the view, if you want to have it a day per week, it's now a segment. You can still select the date range. Can decide if you want to do it for all campaigns or only for active campaigns or pause campaigns. Add the different segments in columns, the different performance statistics, filter it. You can download it in the control panel and in the library view, the frequency, you often want to see it, email options, and so on. So basically we can say Report Center is no longer necessary, because all the functionalities are now integrated, and we kind of clear up a bit the view for advertisers to make it easier for them to run reports, and it's more straightforward. And this process is still ongoing until July. So until July, you still have the Report Center tab in AdWords. Then it will go away. So if you are used to go to the Report Center tab in AdWords to run reports regularly, you should get used to the new integrated reports, because they will then go away. If you have already reports scheduled today, they will not go away. They will just be migrated over into this new control panel section, so you don't need to set them up again. So it's a migration happening, so no worries there. Okay. Any questions so far to the Report Center? Okay. Let's continue with another interesting tool that was launched a few months ago called Search Funnel Reports. So when you are a user and you're on Google, so think about your own behavior, what you do. You want to buy a product, you want to, let's say, or buy a trip, or make a holiday. What do you do as a user? You search for a lot of different things. And in reality, what you do when you are an advertiser and you have a website, you at the end count a conversion only to the last click that happened so that the transaction happened. But at the end, you have no clue what was the user behavior before a transaction happened on your website. Was he searching for something else that was maybe not directly relevant? How did he at the end came up with the decision to buy your product and your service? And we offer a new report called Search Funnel Report. So you can basically get an idea of the search queries that happened before the transaction happened, also how long the decision path is from the user until he makes the transaction. So if you have, let's say, a very complex product where the decision process takes a long time, for example, take holiday. So you're a family, you want to go with them on holiday. You don't do a transaction immediately when you search for something. Normally, you search, get an idea of where you could go to for holiday, and you then talk to your family, maybe to friends who were there, ask for recommendations. So this whole decision can take, I don't know, a week, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. And if you buy a car, it can be even longer, for example, where people compare different car models, things like that. And this will be made transparent to you in the Search Funnel Report. So why that's so important? So let's take these two examples. We have one company called Thomas Cook in the travel industry. and another keyword, air hotel packages. If you just run a campaign, let's assume you get these stats. So you say Thomas Cook, the keyword costs me 3,400 euro, and I get 16,000 conversions out of it with an average CPA of 21 cents. So really cheap, you can say. And another one, air hotel packages, not so much cost, but also only 10 conversions. So the CPA is really, really high, you can say, and maybe too much for Thomas Cook to continue advertising and book this keyword. So you basically would say, air hotel packages is too expensive, I will no longer use it. But at the end, you don't know what really happened after people saw and searched maybe with this query on Google, what the next process is. So you basically have several steps in the process from users until they buy something, sign up for something, fill out a form, things like that. And I think I best can illustrate it with an example. So take the example of travel ones. So you have maybe at the beginning of April a user going to Google, start to search for air hotel packages. So he only knows that he wants to go on holiday. He has no clue where to go to. So he just enters kind of a general term, not really specific. And at the end, he ended up with some ideas of, let's say, some players in the market, some companies. And then a few days later, he specifically was interested in, let's say, Thomas Cook flights. I don't know. That's just an example. It can be for all kind of industries. So just narrow down a bit. He wants to get the products and services from Thomas Cook flights. And after some discussions with his friends, he decides, oh, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Rome. Let's first of all check what kind of hotels are available in Rome. I want to find a nice hotel. And I want to fly with a nice airline, and what airline is actually flying to Rome from my city. And at the end, after a few days discussion with, let's say, a partner or family and friends, he decides, I want to go to Rome with Thomas Cook because they have a great offer. So that's the final query he did, where he made at the end the transaction. So you basically can say, if you are not present with your campaign at the air hotel package query at the beginning, maybe he will end up at a competitor's website. So at the end, you should see the whole big picture of how users search until they make a transaction. And you basically have these kind of reports at the end available. So you can basically see the whole path until conversion happened on your website. And what kind of keywords assisted conversion, for example. So you could maybe find out that some keywords you would never expect at the end are super important for you until a conversion is happening. And that's really important to know, because maybe this keyword, if you only see the keyword isolated, is very expensive. But if you take it into account for the whole big picture, it is maybe super important for you. And you can also see the time frame, how long it takes for your product and service until a user is really making the transaction and is buying your product or signing up for a service, for example. It can be sometimes really, really long. So in some cases, it can be nearly a year, maybe, if it's a really expensive product where they have to think about it. But you have all these details available in the search funnel report. And if you're interested in the search funnel report, just contact your Google counterpart, your agency, and they can help you to set it up, because it's kind of some explanation also required to it. Let's continue with the other topic, mobile device and carrier targeting. How many here in the room have mobile campaigns on Google? No one. Wow, I'm surprised. So what you can do with Google is you can specifically target mobile devices. You can target high-end mobile devices like the iPhone, Android device, or the Palm device in one package. Or you can specifically target individual users, because I can tell you from my experience in other markets, there is the assumption that users who have an iPhone are normally more worth than users who don't have let's say, an iPhone, because it's kind of an expensive device, and you can assume that these users have a higher income than, let's say, people who have only an old WAP device, for example. which you can also target, by the way. So you can also set up campaigns for mobile devices only targeting web users. And what we just launched a few months ago is that you can specifically decide with your AdWords campaigns where you want to show up. Do you only want to show up on iPhones? You want to show up on all kind of Android, Google Android devices, Palm devices, or also specific providers only. You want to target specific users who are only on Vodafone, for example, or T-Mobile, and all the big players. And this is also available with the carriers here in Belgium. Additional to that, we also launched the possibility, if you have an application, mobile application for the iPhone App Store or the Android Store, you can also advertise it in an AdWords campaign and promote your new feature in your new app online. And this is how it looks like in the interface. So if you set up an AdWords campaign, you basically, first of all, have to decide, I want to run only on Google Search, Content Network, Search Partners. And if you run on Search, you can decide where you want to show up, only on desktop computers. So if your website is not working on mobile devices, you should definitely only target desktop. But if your website is working pretty good on mobile devices, you can also include iPhone and all kind of other mobile devices, and then decide, I want to target all of them or specific one. Android, iPhone, Palm, and so on. And if you're interested in only targeting a few operators, just select them, that's it. It's all in the campaign settings. So very easy. And definitely an interesting option because the queries on mobile devices are growing like hell. So we've seen, everyone was saying in the last, let's say, 5 years, mobile will become big, mobile will become big. It took a while, but we've seen internally in Google that especially in last year, the queries are growing like crazy. It's still not at the same level like on a normal desktop mobile, and desktop is still at a different stage. So you can say in some cases it's maybe 10% of the queries compared to the overall queries on Google. But the field is growing very strong, and for some products and services, what we've seen so far, the conversion rates are also relatively high and higher than we had expected. So I have to say personally, I'm a bit conservative. I have a high-end mobile device, but I would not book, for example, a hotel on a mobile device, but we see that this is happening. People sign up for newsletter on a mobile device. They book a hotel on a mobile device. Because with the new high-end mobile devices, all these functionalities are getting more and more possible. And you can also, for example, specifically now target the iPad, which is maybe even more interesting to see. Okay, and if you want to promote your apps, this is the way you can do it. So you just include the App Store URL, including your specific one, and then you can promote your individual app. That's, for example, from our client in Germany, what I've seen so far just recently was Lufthansa, for example, an example. They launched a new Android app where you can check the schedule of the flight is in time, things like that. And they promoted it when users on iPhone searched for specific flights and said, by the way, if you want to know latest information, just install one of our apps. Bam, that's it. Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, let's move on from the search part to the content part. And let's, first of all, I want to know who of you is running in the Google Content Network here? Quite a few people, okay. So if you use the Google Content Network, you kind of make more out of the potential you have with Google, because we have a wide network of thousands of websites in all kind of industries. And you can basically have, to be honest with you, the same performance like on Google Search. So the same amount of signups, conversions at the end like on Google Search. It's just a bit more difficult to be successful, but it's possible. And one tool you can use is remarketing for that. So with remarketing on the Google Content Network, you can basically find all the users who visited your website already, and you can at the end to retarget them. So let's assume you have a hotel website and you have, let's say, 3 sections: luxury, business, and budget. And you have users who go to the luxury section on your website and check out some hotel details, but then they just leave and don't book. So you kind of lose a potential customer, but you don't know why. And with remarketing, our product, you can reach out to them. So you basically just need to install kind of a tag, a tracking code on your website, and can at the end collect a list of users who saw this and retarget them on the Google Content Network on a later stage. So because we have such a wide network of thousands of websites, the chances are, let's say, 100% that this user will go to one of our partner websites at a later stage, all kind of categories. So if you know that your customer will go to automotive websites, telco websites, wedding websites, we have all kind of websites in our network, and you can retarget them. So you can basically say, if the user is going to another website and he was on my, let's say, luxury part of the website, he should see an offer. It specifically adjusted to this part. Take another example. You have an online shop. You have users who put products in your shopping cart but do not finish the transaction. So you can basically say, at this point, you want to collect all the users in a list and retarget them. So you can say at the end, if the user is somewhere else in the content network, by the way, you can create a banner. I've seen you haven't finished your transaction. Do you need help? Please call our call center that we can finish the transaction together. Or you get 10% discount if you finish the transaction now. So you can really, really specifically retarget the user. And here, just to highlight the content network, you can reach globally 80% of all internet users. So we have a really, really broad network with billion of page views in all kind of industries, and you have the same pricing. So you have CPC or CPM, like in the content network, and you can specifically pick out the audience that you want to target. So it's just an idea, so that I just mentioned with the shopping cart, people who leave the shopping cart. Think about your own website. So what users do, where do you have a high bounce rate on your website, and how you could potentially retarget the user at a later point, and maybe make him a customer at the end. So one example I have here is from a company who produced movies, and they had a trailer website. So they had, before the official launch of the movie in the cinema happened, millions of visitors on the website who saw the trailers. And they kind of collected for each specific movie the users who saw the trailer. And at the end, what they did was, after a while, when the DVD release happened, they specifically retargeted the user who saw the trailer and said, hey, by the way, are you also maybe interested in the DVD? So just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. So it's a very interesting way to target specific audiences. And you can also target, in remarketing, specific audience also in specific sections. So if you want to target only the users who are mainly on automotive website, that's also possible. So we call it interest-based advertising. So you can say, I want to target all users who are in a specific section only, because you know you're a car manufacturer, you know all your client or most of your clients are also golf players. So you can specifically also only target this part. So this is possible with remarketing, and I would definitely encourage you to give it a try. Above the fold in the Google Content Network, what is that? So you basically have maybe campaigns in the Google Content Network. What happens in a lot of cases, you have a website about a specific topic, and you have no direct idea where the ad slot actually is. Is it on the right-hand side? Is it on top of the website? Or maybe you need to scroll down on the website and it's at the bottom. With above the fold functionality in the Google Content Network, you can say, I only want to show up in the Google Content Network on sites where it's directly visible for the user. So you don't need to scroll down on a website and maybe doesn't see the ad at all, only when it really is directly visible for him. And it's a filter we introduce. So basically, when your ad would be here on the right-hand side, that would be above the fold. If it would be below here, so you had to scroll down, you can filter it out and your ad would not show up. So that's specifically interesting what we've seen so far from advertisers who are very brand focused, because they want to make sure that whenever they get an impression, the user really saw the ad and maybe has not just ignored it because it was at the bottom. And you set it up in the category exclusion, so you can basically say, I only want to show up when the ad would be above the fold in our partner network, or just also in the other way around, below the fold. So it's totally up to you. By the way, category exclusion also works for other topics. So if you don't want to show up in the Google Content Network on social network sites, things like that, you can exclude it as well. You have a question?
Again, how Google is detecting the ad's position?
How?
Google is tracking the position.
Yeah, so from our partner websites, we can find out, don't ask me the details how it works, but from our experience of and how the placement was there on the website before, where it is. So we are
it's not the website who was speaking some
no.
in the app.
Yeah. So it's automatically from our side. It's not. We had that in the past. So we asked our publishers to give us information. Where is it? Is it on the left-hand side, on top, on the right? And basically they gave us wrong information. So we decided to kill that and said we need to detect it by ourselves where the ad is, and it's also not manually. So it's working automatically, and we can detect how many are above the fold compared to the one below the fold. We're not guaranteeing that it's always above the fold if you target only above the fold, but it's working really, really good. And we basically would say 90–95% is really correct above the fold. Growing your Twitter community. So how many here in the room do some tests with Twitter? Okay, yes, a few. So Twitter, you all know, is a fast growing community. And the social media landscape is a really interesting one. We also try to do a lot in this area and find out how we can participate in the whole social media landscape. So you have on YouTube, you see some integration, for example, from Facebook, for example. And the whole process at the end, the whole social media is getting more and more important. And Twitter is a big player in the market, and we see that a lot of our advertisers, or all the advertisers in general, try to do experiments with Twitter. Try to find a way, what can they do with Twitter? How can they participate in the huge growth of Twitter? How can they specifically use the potential when they have something on Twitter? And we have here in this presentation a few things, first ideas of what you can do with Google and Twitter together if you want to get some followers if you have a Twitter account. So we reduce it to 3 different ways. So first of all, you should take the opportunity and use what is available on Google Search in form of Twitter queries. So we have huge growth in Twitter queries already on Google these days. So people specifically searching something on Twitter, on Google for around Twitter. You can specifically, with one of our tools, Ad Planner, decide I want to target websites where a lot of Twitter users are. And you can use, with the display ad builder, also your Twitter account that you maybe have in an ad format. So you can bring in your tweet feed in an ad in our content network. Let me show you each one of them in more details. So what we see in Google in general is that more and more users specifically search for Twitter and, let's say, a brand or a product. They want to know with, let's say, in this case, BlackBerry, what are tweets around BlackBerry. So we have also Twitter already a bit integrated on our side, and they want to know what are users searching around this. So you can basically pick the individual query and maybe set up an individual campaign or ad group message just around Twitter. So if a user is searching for Twitter BlackBerry and you're a RIM, you should maybe think about setting up a campaign and say, you put in keywords like Twitter BlackBerry, Twitter RIM, and so on. You can set up a campaign. By the way, if you want to follow us on Twitter, just sign up for our tweet account, blah, 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 blah. So just a specific message around it. If you are interested in identifying websites where you have a lot of tweets happening, a lot of Twitter user in Ad Planner, you basically have a checkbox available where you can see from the overall audience, I want to find the audience on the partner network who is very active on Twitter. So it also works back to the way how we collect the data in Ad Planner. For those of you who don't know Ad Planner is a free tool we offer where you can quickly see what are the top websites in a country, not only in our content network, but if they're on the content network, you can see the details as well. So you can see unique users, the reach, so all the details for the individual websites. And if they are websites where a lot of Twitter users are, you can see it here as well. We basically collect the data because that's one of the questions we hear very often. How do you get the data in Ad Planner? How do you know that those users are also, in a lot of cases, on Twitter? We use our Google Toolbar. So Google Toolbar users, where we have in most markets a lot of users, they can opt in or opt out, also available, if they want to share with us their usage of the internet. So we kind of track the websites they visit. So we know users who regularly go to Facebook, also maybe going regularly to Twitter. And this is the way how we collect the data. Users can opt out of this. Also, again, possible. The same like we just recently allowed users to opt out of analytics. And if we have this data available, you can say, please show me all the top websites in Belgium, for example, where there are a lot of Twitter users. So you can, at the end, then set up a content AdWords campaign and say, I target these websites with a specific message. Again, you can say, follow us. You can create a banner and say, follow us on Twitter. And if you follow us, you will be notified of discounts for our products, things like that. So you can very quickly grow your follower base on your Twitter account. And also the third option that is available for you is via the display ad builder. So you can basically say when you have a Twitter account for your company, all the tweets that are happening, so you kind of, let's say, have on a daily basis a message that you send out, you want to include it in one of your banners. So fully automatically, you just connect at the end the banner format with your Twitter account and have the automatic feed in there updating regularly. So when you post something new on Twitter, it will be also automatically directly updated in the campaign in the network. And this is available via the display ad builder in Google AdWords accounts. And so you can very quickly set it up in, to be honest with you, in 2-3 minutes. And make sure that the message is regularly then updated and the tweets are available. To be honest with you, the panel is so big, so we only use Google Toolbar data in countries where we have, I cannot tell you the exact numbers, but we're not saying when we have Toolbar installed 1,000 times in a country, we'll use it. We talk about several 100,000 users who have installed it, which is a very solid panel for we would say, for kind of an estimation how the average user behaves. Because we have not always the technically advanced people who install the toolbar, we also have partnerships. So with some of our, I don't know exactly how it is. We have partnerships maybe with Dell. That's our partnerships team working on that. On all computers who Dell selling to people, the toolbar is installed per default, for example. So you also would at the end reach out users who are not so technically advanced and do not necessarily install the toolbar. We don't have this data or this functionality available in all markets. In Belgium it is available because we have enough data. And you can basically check if you go to Ad Planner, if your country is in the drop-down as filter available, where you can see what are the top websites in a country, then we have enough data. So right now, for example, we don't have Slovenia, for example, included, because we don't have enough toolbar data from Slovenia, so we cannot give out statistically relevant data. So we are a very number-driven company, and our decisions in our company are really based on numbers and facts. And if we don't have reliable numbers, we will not launch something. Okay. Okay, any question to Twitter ads? Okay. But that's it already for today.